Hey, Stu.
Thomas, how are you, sir?
Cold, man.
Oh, yeah, I am. Missing heater on this side of my house. My furnace broke. So
Nice.
I am actually roughing it on this side of my house. But the side that we sleep on has its own heater. So that's nice. But, my office and living room and all that, we got two fires going in the house. Got my jacket on down in my basement. It's just cold, but it's no big deal. It's 70 degrees in my living room right now,
That's
which
awesome.
which I got this huge fire going. So anyway, no
Good
big deal.
man.
Every now and
So,
then, you just got to do it. And my weekend is not meant to worry about it. Uh, we'll get a new furnace on Monday.
there you go,
Not
bud.
going to sweat it. It's
There
not
you
a
go.
today
So this is
problem, sir. Not a
this,
today problem.
yes, I'm with you. This is Tactical Fitness Report with Stu Smith. This is number 95, Stu. We're
Yes,
five away
sir.
from 100.
I know, man.
Five away from 100. So this one is about variety. It's adding new workouts to your current plan. And this came about because you and I were talking about the fact that, for example, I started training many, many, many years ago with a routine that was the same thing for every week. It was just different on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But I did it every week. And oh man, what are you eating there?
Um. Oh, should I share my life hack with
Absolutely. What do you
everybody? Okay. Yogurt, Greek yogurt. It's almost gone.
Okay.
Plain Greek yogurt. Have you ever eaten plain Greek yogurt?
Not voluntarily, I haven't.
Right. It's
Yeah.
it has protein in it, and that's probably why you might eat it. Right.
But
Low
but let me
carb.
just tell you,
But
if you're at a Greek restaurant, Stu, and they put the stuff on it to make a dessert out of it, it's
yeah,
absolutely delicious.
absolutely. Well, that's what I do with this.
Ah,
You see that? This
okay.
is vanilla flavored whey protein.
Okay.
And the reason why I like this Ascent brand protein is because if you look on the back, what's it say? Nutrition facts.
Yeah.
You know what most protein powders say on the back?
Sugar.
Supplement facts.
Oh, do they really?
It's a difference. It requires this is food. You cannot have nutrition facts on anything but is food, right? When it's not a food, it is a supplement. So the people who make this actually make baby formula. So,
Yeah.
which is highly regulated by the FDA. And they just branched out and created a protein-based whey protein. So I love it. It's some of the best stuff I've ever eaten. Anyway, it turns plain Greek yogurt into vanilla yogurt with 40 grams of protein in this little bowl
Wow.
versus the says probably 10 grams of protein that I had just with the plain Greek yogurt. Add another 25 grams of protein in there, and it's tasty. Tastes like vanilla. So that's my life hack. I'm sorry I
So
interrupted you by eating.
so why do you do that when you're making me the first thing in the morning? Have a tablespoon of raw vanilla, raw vinegar.
Why did I do that?
I don't know why you're making me do that, but you're making me have this tablespoon of raw vinegar, and you talk about something that tastes really bad.
Yeah, apple cider vinegar. It's
Yeah,
good for you though. I mean, it's like yogurt too for your gut.
yeah,
Going to help you with your gut and digestion, and once you get your gut right, everything will start digesting better. You start absorbing food better, especially if you've been on medications for a very
yeah. I
long
mean, that's
time.
why you told
Right,
me to do with that
right,
and probiotics, but
right.
um, but
Yeah,
I'll tell you
probiotic.
that my life hack on vinegar is that you just take a tablespoon of it and just slug it down and chase it with coffee,
Ooh.
black coffee. Now, you would think it would make coffee taste terrible, but it actually works.
Yeah. You know what I mix it with? I mix it with some other kind of citrus food
Okay.
or drink, like orange juice or lemonade,
Yeah.
something like that, and it just kind of blends in somehow. You miss it when it goes in.
Yeah, but I enjoy that. First thing in the morning, just the first thing I do is slug that vinegar, man.
It'll
Um,
wake you up.
yeah, it certainly does. Well, that's a great thing. I will try that along with the. I got to tell you, man, the the oscillating massage thing.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
the carb buffer.
carb over.
Did you get that?
It's awesome.
Told you.
It is
Told you, like
awesome,
I
man.
didn't come up with that idea. I wish I had. I mean, but it's just some guy that says, you know what, I'm not going to buy this $3,500 deep massage tool for my physical therapy practice. Let me see how this works.
I got to tell you, for those of you that don't know, because you might not have caught the last podcast Stu and I did on this, that you're recommending this car buffer, or you were telling me about this car buffer that you can use as a massager. And I'm trying to remember the name of the brand. Is a pretty well-known brand.
Ryobi.
Yeah, Ryobi.
Yeah.
And it's not terribly expensive. You can get it at Home Depot.
Yeah.
And the thing just, yeah, it's like something else, man.
Yeah. I think it's 10 times better than my foam roller. However, I haven't lost my foam roller either. I mean, I love the foam roller too, but the two together, and I am feeling no pain right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So this podcast is about breaking out of your routine.
Right.
Like
we just did.
People love the routine, right?
Like we just did with this podcast.
It's like we just did. Right. Yeah. This is part of the problem of when you've been friends for so long.
Yes.
So a lot of people like the strict program where you're doing the same thing. You may not do the same thing every day, but you do it the same thing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or you do the same workout. The other thing that you were mentioning is that there are people, and I hadn't even really thought about this, but you see it when you do work out in gyms, is people that just cycle through stuff. Randomly, it's probably not randomly. It probably has some sort of logic to it, but they kind of just go and work out on various machines. And your point was, look, if you're not following a routine that's been personalized for you, like you do for me and for a lot of other people,
right?
If you're not following that program, you may want to think about adding some sort of challenging variety into what you're doing. And that's the point behind this podcast.
Right. I kind of classified into a couple different groups of people. When you go to the gym, you see the guy who's religiously following I don't necessarily want to call it a program, but it's like you did when I first met you. You had a six day a week workout.
Yep.
That fit on one page.
Yep.
And you just did that week after week after week after week. Now, each day was something different, and it was logical. It made sense, but there was no way to progress from there.
Yeah.
Now, there are many ways to progress from there. You just have to get creative when you do it. So if you're that type of rule follower, there's a couple different options for you. You can jump like we mentioned, turn the volume notch up.
Yeah.
Right. So just like listening to the radio, you like a song you like, turn the volume up. So do a little more of those exercises, whether that's more mileage and running, more, time in the pool or on the bike or whatever cardio activity, or it's more volume and repetitions that you are doing of that exercise, whether it be calisthenics or it be weights. That's one of the classic ways to make change. And it kind of goes with our last podcast that we talked about, is kind of getting into that overload principle, right? Because if you just stay the same course week after week after week, or even worse, the same one single workout every other day, week after week after week, that's even more stale. Yeah. Right. And you do need some kind of variety to throw in there. And it doesn't have to be, if you don't like getting on a big program, and I get it. A lot of people don't, like when I write a book, like this tactical strength program, that is a program, it's going to take you through about 26 weeks of a variety of different strength training cycles to get you through the program. A lot of people don't necessarily want to get on a program. Some people do. And I call them the rule followers. They love to get on the program and they will just do that program religiously. Right. Now, the only problem with that is, once again, this book is not personalized for that person. So once again, they have to get a little creative and figure out, okay, well, I don't have a swimming pool, so I need to replace this with something else. Or there's no way I'm going to do this many reps on the bench press. I really need to lighten this up if I'm going to hit that many repetitions. So whatever, if I say max out on pull-ups, that's a great one because either you're going to do 1 or 0, right? Or just try to get 1, or you're going to do 20 or more, right? So a max is a max. So there are many different ways for you to kind of change your workouts up into a different form of same type of workout that you like doing, but just adding some variety into it. Very similar to what you were saying about your son who likes doing these type of workouts.
Exactly.
Because these are just a la carte workouts. This is just there's no program to it. It's organized in upper body, lower body, calisthenics only, weight training only workout, sections. But if you have, a program that you're working on, say like your son's working on, Spartan races or an obstacle race, program. He obviously has some running programs that he does, probably has some specialized training that he does to work on his grip and things like that. That's part of his program. However, there are days that you can block into your program, say middle of the week or the end of the week, and you just do a butt kicking workout that, is something a little bit different, right? But it's similar in a way of same, all the elements of fitness that you still need are in this training, so it should make sense once again. So
yeah, absolutely. And the idea that you have here is that if you do the same routine, no matter what cycles you're doing, it eventually becomes a maintenance routine. And you say there's no problem with that if that's what you want.
Right.
But if you want to grow, if you want to improve, that you do need the variety that provides the challenge.
Yes. And like I said, that doesn't necessarily mean a new workout, right? Even if you like the same regimented programming that you've done for years, the adjustments that you can make can be minimal, but make a really big difference, such as going heavier on the weight circuit and maybe cutting your repetitions by 50%, but increasing your weight enough to where you take a 10 rep circuit and make it down to a 5 rep circuit, work on your strength, or do just the opposite. Let's work on some muscle stamina and, turn some of those weight workouts into calisthenics or lower weighted, higher rep exercises. Right. And same with your cardio. If you're the typical person that likes to do 30-minute gym routine and then a 30-minute cardio at the end, or vice versa, you like to do the cardio first and then that, maybe just switch those two up. See what it feels like to do your gym first and your cardio second versus your cardio first and your gym second. Just minor little things like that can make a big difference on you seeing new results, because it's really about, the reason why I created my running program, right? The bell curve that goes throughout the year, right? Is because if you just stay right here at the top or in the bottom, year after year after year, you're just either one, you're not going to get better because you're flatlining down too low, or two, you're flatlining way too high and it's too much volume and you're going to get hurt. Yeah. So we just kind of roll with the flow of the longer days of the year. That's when your longer runs of the year are. So, you can't look at your workout. And I think this is the one thing that I try to stress with everybody that, reads my stuff or listens to me, is that you can't look at a day of the workout, to reach your goals. You can't look at a certain week of the workout to reach your goals. That workout needs to kind of fit into a plan that fits into your year.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where the periodization program, 52 weeks of periodization. I have 4 different blocks, 4 different quarters, focusing on 8 different elements of fitness as you progress through the year. So you get good at all of them versus only good at 1 or 2 and skipping the things that, you don't like to do, but you need to do. And this is more for the tactical athlete versus the competitive athlete that just needs to be good at swimming. They may need to lift some weights and get some stronger joints and muscles, but for most part, he's going to be in the pool and just swimming, right? He doesn't need to do speed and agility drills on land to be a better swimmer, right? So there's some things obviously the athlete doesn't need to do, but the tactical athlete doesn't need to be great at anything, but they need to be good at everything. So.
Yeah, and for those of you that haven't heard the description or haven't read the description of the periodization idea that Stu has, just look back into the podcast and search the word periodization. And you can also do it under military.com, and you'll find that there's a lot of thought that's been put into this concept of periodization to make sure that you're challenging yourself, but you're doing it in a smart way.
Yeah. And I didn't come up with it. I mean, I came up with my system that I've been doing for 20 years now. In fact, if you do a Google search on 20-year periodization, Stu Smith, you'll see a great article of my story of how I created that program and how I've been doing it for 20 years. And pretty much anybody who's been a student of mine has been learning this system. And you've been with me for over 20 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And as I started creating this thing, I remember handing it off to you, and you're pushing in some really great numbers, and you're still moving along with it, and you're a little bit older than I am,
Yes,
but you are still killing it.
Wow, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. I'm not sure I feel like I'm killing it. I feel like it's killing me, Stu, sometimes, but but thank you though. But so one of the things that you mentioned here is that that when you do this idea of repeating and you like it because it feels good to you, and as you said, there are a lot of people that like this idea of, look, I like to know what I'm doing on Monday. I like to know what I'm doing on Tuesday. I don't want to carry a schedule around. I just have it in my head. You had the concept in here that I really liked, which in this article, by the way, that's titled Variety, Adding New Workouts to Your Current Plan, military.com, Facebook.
Right.
And your concept was, look, take a week out of the month and grab some challenging workouts and do them. Or every other week do it, so that you can feel like you are maintaining your routine and doing the things you like, but you're also throwing that variety in.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, in that article, I linked in several great options. I think I have this article called my top 10 go-to favorite workouts of all time. And of course there's the pyramid in there and the supersets and the old school workouts like that, but then there's some newer ones too. But variety of cardio workouts, running workouts, depending on what you're doing. It's never a bad time to take a week and just do an assessment of yourself. Let's just see where you are. If you're in the same spot that you were 2-3 years ago with your fitness, that's great if that's your goal. Right? If you just want to maintain this standard for the rest of your life, nothing is wrong with that. Like for me, I used to kind of really enjoy getting big during the winter, during my lifting cycle.
Yeah.
But after 40, it became really difficult to trim it back down and be lean by the summer again, right? Without really watching my diet. So now I am in more of a mindset for the rest of my life, unless something comes up and I want to change my mind, to stay under 200 pounds for the rest of my life. I'm just healthier that way. My blood works better. So my heavy lifting days, I still lift heavy, but I don't eat as much as I'm trying to gain weight during that cycle. I do a lot more cardio than I normally did in the winter cycle because like I said, I'm not trying to put on 10 or 15 pounds anymore. But now it's just so easy. You remember back in the day when it was hard to gain weight?
Yeah.
I mean, I could take this stuff 5 times a day and never gain weight. It's just.
I know. I see that with my son. He's rail thin. He was like me and you when we were his age.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there, man. That guy can just pound the food. And
yeah. But anyway, so it depends on your goal. If that is your goal to maintain, take that week and assess where you are, right? And if you feel like you need to change some things up, change some things up. And when you see if, a score or a time isn't where you thought your fitness should be, right? So anyways, that week of adding new ideas, a la carte them if you want, or pull an actual week out of this, out of an actual program, and just test it out. And who knows, you may like it. I tell people all the time, the best workout in the world is probably the one you're not doing, right? So don't get so caught up in what we do, every single day, because, be open to new ideas and new suggestions, because fitness is a journey, right? It's not a destination, right? So that's why I have a real hard time with people who just want to maintain a certain status quo, because, fitness isn't a destination. It's always a journey. If you really want it to be exciting, and it doesn't necessarily, I don't want to say it's lack of meaning, or meaningless doing a maintenance plan, because sometimes you're just trying to do it for health and wellness. You're not trying to do it for physical performance. So,
Yeah, I would say, Stu, the couple of thoughts about, and for those of you that are listening instead of watching, Stu is just pulling down warrior workouts and tactical fitness books that you can use to supplement what you're doing. But
right.
But one of the things I noticed, for example, when you were doing this periodization and you were pulling off the winter into the spring, and you were really doing the power lifting workouts in the winter, and you were coming down, I remember that's when you ended up with the shin splints. You ended up with all those minor injuries.
Yes.
And I remember distinctly, because we were working on something together at the time, and you ended up having something, I can't remember, but it was a lower extremity thing that kept you from being able to do the cardio work that you wanted to do, and you got behind on a few weeks because you got injured. And
right.
That's another example of making it really helps to have someone, and in my case, I've got Stu. It helps to have someone who can assess where you are, and then design or tell you with some kind of logic with assessment where you are, and what will take you to the next level, or what will get you through the next period. And I have to believe this is really important. And then once you're working with somebody that gives you that, you start to develop your own sense of it. You start to develop your own sense of what your body will take. And at this stage, I'm really careful, because the last thing I want to do is injure myself, because that sets you back, and it's a psychological thing. And anybody who's involved in tactical work, you can't afford to let it set you back.
Oh, absolutely.
So, there you have to really learn how to listen to your body and have someone check what you're doing.
Right. Well, like I said, there's a difference between performance fitness for your job, for your athletic activity, for some screening program you're doing, or for just, your goals of running races, or, whatever they are performance related goals. And those are great. And I personally kind of fall into that realm of fitness. However, I realize that there is a completely different realm of fitness, like my wife, for instance, who just want to go burn some calories, de-stress from a day's work, hang out with her friends and talk to an adult. If you're been around with kids all day, there are ways to use fitness as a life enhancer, not necessarily a competition, which I have always kind of been in the more competitive mode, whether it's with other people that I'm working out with, or just myself and the stopwatch. Am I faster now than I was 2 weeks ago? So, they're two different styles of fitness, but regardless, and I'm not saying one is right, one is wrong. I'm just saying what I kind of lean towards. I completely understand that, the side of fitness where you are just trying to maintain, trying to burn some stress. I mean, that is highly beneficial. And if that's you, then you should do that. However, it can get stale. And that's the only thing, as I'm creating this article here about variety, is that trying to prevent staleness in your workout, whether that is just personal preference of staleness, or it's actually beating you down to a point where this is such a boring workout, I just don't want to do it anymore. So I'm trying to avoid that. And you do that by, adding some different idea into your workout program. But you have to be smart about it and personalize it for yourself. If you pull this off the internet, or you from a fitness magazine, or a friend who comes in, hey, I got this new workout, check this out, let's do it. And if you do too much, you're going to feel the pain, and you may not be into being sore for 3 or 4 days. So
yeah, the reason why I like, Stu, in the article, I like this idea of once a month, take a week and change the workouts, but maintain your routine is, when you and I first got together, I needed to work out for my job. I had a real specific reason to have to be, doing certain things and training certain ways. And I had a routine that somebody had designed for me years and years before, and I knew worked, and I knew I didn't hurt myself. I didn't injure myself. And I knew it would keep me at levels and doing what I needed to do. But the problem was, it was the same thing, and it never added any kind of variety. Now, I liked the repetitive nature of it because I knew what to expect. I knew exactly how long it was going to take. I knew how I could fit it in, but it really didn't challenge me. Or
I should say this: it may have challenged you for a month, 6 weeks, but eventually you hit this little curve, right? And you just stay flat, and that's what the plateau is. Right. And you just kind of plateau right there. And the only way you're going to get off that plateau is by changing it up a little bit. Are you going to change the volume? Are you going to change the rest periods? You're going to make them shorter. You're going to change the number of repetitions that you're doing. And maybe add, 2 new exercises per body part. So let's say, a pushing workout where you're doing bench press and military press. Well, add in 2 more, like dips and push-ups, or tricep push downs, something that works the pushing muscles in another way. Right. So just once again, it's about how to change things up without, 1, killing yourself by doing too much, but 2, mainly just to add the variety in there to, not do the same old thing, and get bored with it.
Yeah. And then the last part of that too, Stu, is even if you are doing the same, and this is something you mentioned to me at the time, that look, you are doing the same thing every week on the same day, and Mondays is Mondays, Tuesdays, Tuesday. But you are your body is getting less and less tolerant. I shouldn't say that right. You're getting older. And so you are more likely to become injured by doing the same thing all the time than you are if you find some way to intelligently vary that.
You know what? Even more so, doing something different. Now, here's something that I see happen often, in the group of people who do the circuit routine for 30 minutes, go do the cardio machine for 30 minutes. That's an hour worth of workout, and you probably burn 600, 700 calories. That's great. Nothing wrong with that. However, do you get injured twisting over here, grabbing some groceries out of the car and putting them into the house? Is there a movement that those machines aren't allowing you to do? So that's why I'm a big fan of, if I'm going to do a machine circuit, I also add in some calisthenics that are going to kind of mimic that. So if I'm doing a bench press, or chest press machine, I'm going to do some push-ups, or maybe find some dips. If I'm doing pull downs, I'm going to try to find a pull-up bar. If I'm doing a leg press machine, I'm going to work on lunges and maybe work on balance a little bit. So there's a lot of elements that the machines don't really cover that have nothing to do with your performance. It has to do with living, right? Because you're not going to pick up, a piece of weight that is on a pulley system, in real life. You're going to pick up an awkwardly weighted sized piece of gear or a bag of groceries or whatever, and you're going to put it into your car, and you wonder why your back's hurt because you just did this little 90-degree twist. And so that is another reason why you need to add some variety in there. And you know what? All you have to do there is just do a Google search on functional core activity, right? And get into some twist exercises, some, lay on it, some plank poses, some side plank poses. The TRX is fantastic for, engaging the core, and no matter what you do. So typically that's where I see where people do the same old thing over, not necessarily getting injured because they're doing the same old thing over. It's because they do something in real life that they're not really prepared to do because they haven't really gone outside of that realm of machinery and, engage balance and more core work and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, that's why in my case, I like mixing in tactical like activities such as shooting poses, martial arts, that sort of thing in between when you would normally be resting from strength. I like to do that, and I've done it. I've always done it.
Yeah, that's a great one, just because, if you are resting with martial arts and you're kicking or you're punching a bag, all that that engages the entire body, because, you don't throw a knockout punch by extending your elbow and shoulder. That starts from your feet and works all the way across your body and through your core and into your hand. So, those kind of movements are, I think, critical for living, not just, your tactical performance as well. So, I guess, when we talk about, the two types of different fitness where you're dealing with performance and you're dealing with maintenance, you do have to be careful on the maintenance side, just as you have to be careful on the performance side with hurting yourself. But typically on the performance side, you're going to hurt yourself maybe doing the workout that's over challenging.
Yeah. On
the maintenance side, it's going to probably be not challenging enough and real life hurt you.
Yes. Yes. So as you say in the article, and you say generally, your view is the best workout may be the one you haven't done yet.
Yeah, it's the one you're missing.
Yeah.
So
good. So variety. Find a way to add variety and do it in a smart way relative to what you're training for.
Right. So I think this article is called Variety, Adding New Workouts
to Your Current Plan.
Yeah.
Military.com, Facebook, Tactical Fitness Facebook group.
Yeah.
And this is Tactical Fitness Report with Stu Smith, number 95.
All right.
95. Nice
cold
winter day.
Yes.
All right, pal. Later.
All right. Thank you, sir.